Welcome back to Soulscape, guys, the podcast where we talk about anything and everything related to life, meaning, purpose. You know what's going on here. Anyways, how are we doing today? Kind of want to say hi. We're doing a little solo episode today. I definitely want to do a lot more interviews. I think interviews are fun, especially with my friends, my family, people that are interesting and such. But I also want just kind of solo talks with you guys, Maybe my long form ones, the interviews will be closer to 45 minutes to an hour, but these ones where it's just me kind of, I don't want to say ranting, but me rambling, me talking to y'all, informing to you what's going on in my life, maybe how it could apply to you, lessons I've learned along the way, things of those nature. I want to do that in, short little 8 to 12 minute segments. So, anyways, or maybe even shorter, I don't know, but let's just see how it goes, and we'll run with it. So, once again, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning into Soulscape. Thank you for the support on the first episode with Jalen, and let's hop into this. So, today's topic I want to talk about something very relevant to what I'm experiencing right now, and that is on October 2nd, 2022, and that is how to pick yourself up after falling down or after getting off track. Like how to correct yourself when you veer off path a little bit, right? So let's talk about that. First of all, what does veering off path mean? I think the way I would describe it or define it is getting off track. Kind of getting lost in the sauce of life. Just getting lost in it. Yeah, I think a lot of us that are listening to this right now, or maybe not all of us, but many of us, are ambitious, we're hardworking, we want something, we're hungry for big things, but it's not easy to get there, and we all know that. So what happens is on that journey there, we might get derailed by life. Now, whether that be family drama, or you just broke up with your girlfriend or your boyfriend, or you're just kind of going through this mental health slap in the face, that is going to happen. It's actually inevitable. I don't think it makes sense. A lot of people try to minimize that in your life and try to avoid the risk of bad things happening as much as you can. But I think if you try to avoid bad things, you also end up avoiding good things because you don't take any action at all and you don't take any risk. So trying to avoid the bad things isn't really the way to go. I would say learning how to deal with them and learning how to appreciate them is actually way more impactful and way more helpful. So, first of all, let's say that getting off track is simply losing yourself in life, whether that be a problem that arises, whether that be a new thing to do, a new issue, whatever you want it to be. So, how do you get back on track after falling off? How do you get back up after falling down, right? Because as every boxer and fighter knows, it's not about how many punches you throw, it's about how many times you get back up, right? So let's talk about that. Let's talk about my life for a second real quick. So I recently have just gotten back on the train, or that feeling, that drive. My first 2 weeks in college, which I've spent about a month here now, my first 2, maybe 3 weeks were kind of rough. It was definitely a change of pace. I was in this small town mindset, very grind mode for 3-4 months. I wasn't back in summer, when I was back in my hometown. I wasn't really going out too much. I was basically just camera, editing, and living. That was it. Camera, editing, playing with my guinea pigs, eating food, going to the gym. That's it. It was a very simple life. And now being back here, I had to get used to everything again. I had to get used to being around, 20,000 other young people. I had to get used to being in a city. I had to get used to so many different things. And what actually ended up happening was I fell off track. I got lost in this college rut, which is just endless. It was just partying, sex, going to sleep late, just fucking living that student life, which is very, in my opinion, very meaningless and unfulfilling. And that's why I'm chasing big dreams. That's why I'm working so hard between social media and photography, videography, and trying to make a name for myself and and doing all these difficult things. And that's why I'm such a big proponent of like self-improvement and putting yourself through challenge, because if you don't do that, if you're a vice to your own pleasure, if you are someone who lets the pleasures of smoking weed all the time and coming with every single girl you see and all that bullshit, it's like you just lose part of yourself. And I'm not dogging on that shit. I mean, it's fun. I'm not going to say it's not, but it's just not very meaningful. But once again, if that's what you're going for, then go for it. Don't listen to my fucking dumbass. Anyways, though, let's go back to it. So, I kind of got off track. I really wasn't making much content. I wasn't thinking about it. All I would do for about like the first 2 weeks of school was I'd probably go to my class. I'd go to my classes, do all the work. I'd be like randomly scrolling TikTok, going to the gym and all that shit, meeting people, going to sleep high, just like watching too much TV. It was bad. It was bad. And then I actually had a psychedelic trip recently, which kind of slapped me in the face and told me like, yo, bro, you're off track right now. Get the fuck back on. So now I'm back on that shit. I'm thinking, you know, all the time, not all the time, but most of the time about content, how I could really level up my photography and videography game, how I could be more creative, how I could start working with local brands around me and start really like making a name for myself as a marketing person, as a creator, as a creative person. And now I'm back on my shit, but that came with time. That came, well, I guess a week, not that much time actually, but it came with small changes that really made up to this big change over the past few weeks. So let's talk about that. Number one, I think the number one thing to realize if you're trying to get your life back on track, and I'm going to say this, and a lot of you guys already know this, is that you are responsible. You're responsible for getting your life back on track. You are responsible for taking the actions necessary to get there. You are responsible for everything. To me, there are certain things in life you can control, and there are certain things you cannot. I can control my actions, my thoughts, and my feelings, and my reactions to life. I can't control anyone else's reactions, thoughts, feelings, actions, or responses to life, but I can control mine. So for me, that's all that fucking matters. The work I put in, the input, the way I react to life, that is paramount. Because once I have that down, I can have everything else down. So number one, realize that you are fucking responsible. And the fact that excuses don't hurt anyone but you. Alright, I know this is gonna sound real fucking like preachy, self-improvement bullshit. But seriously, bro, if you don't take responsibility for your failures and your successes, you will not succeed. You will not get there. So number one is take responsibility. Number two, in my opinion, is environment. Environment, I just did a presentation on this recently. Environment is the people, the media, and the things you surround yourself with. So let me take an example. Lately, I've been listening to a lot of the Real AF podcast, which is with Andy Frisella and some special guests and stuff. And I'm enjoying it. I don't love it. Like, there's some people which are like Andy Frisella stans. I don't agree with everything he says. I like the idea and the emotion he puts behind it. And I think a lot of his ideas of like hard work and fucking grinding and getting through tough shit, that is very good. I think other stuff is more questionable, but that's besides the point. Talking about Andy Frisella, I think number one thing is he's kind of given me an outlet or someone to go to or something to go to. This podcast, that podcast has given me something to go to for when I'm looking for a slap in the face or some sort of burst of motivation or inspiration or something like that. And I think those small changes, putting that kind of media, putting those people around you, the people who are ambitious and hardworking and driven, and like stepping outside that comfort zone, I think that once you step outside that comfort zone, that really fucking helps for you to get back on track. Because now what you're doing is you aren't in this comfort cycle, this cycle of just constant dopamine, a hedonic treadmill of pleasure and serotonin releases. Or not even serotonin, just this cycle of pleasure and dopamine. Once you step out of that and you're in this this uncomfortable situation where you don't have that dopamine constantly regulating, constantly feeding back. You don't have, you're not looking at your phone every 30 fucking seconds. You're not jerking off 7 times a day. You're not drinking and just smoking your entire life away, withering away to be a husk of a human being. Once you step out of that and you start willingly putting yourself through discomfort, that's when things really start to change. And that's so beautiful. Because now you are doing difficult things because you know they will help you. You know that even though it sucks in the moment, it will put you forward. And it will get you to where you want to go. Because the truth is that discomfort leads to growth. And if you don't want to accept that, don't. That's fine. But don't expect amazing things to come to you if you don't want to accept that fact. That discomfort is necessary to grow. So don't be afraid to put yourself through discomfort when you get off track. Third thing, you got to reflect. Well, no. You got to actually fucking carry through. Instead of, like, it's really good to listen to these podcasts, to read these kinds of books which help you get your life back on track. It's really great to put yourself in that environment. But at the end of the day, if you're not taking those actions, you're not getting anywhere. Actions lead to places. Thoughts breed actions. What you think about all day long leads to what you become. Your thoughts become your reality. But you have to realize that thoughts, imagine thoughts are here, reality is here. If you're watching this or listening to this through like Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you don't have the video, then that kind of sucks. But anyways, though, think about your thoughts on the left side and your action or the person you want to become on the right side. So your thoughts and the person you want to become, they're linked. But in the middle between the two is action. Action is the thing that bridges. Action bridges thoughts and your future. So it's really about those actions, which are really, really important. You need those thoughts, but it's really about the actions. So if you don't take the necessary actions, then you're not getting fucking anywhere. You got to realize that when you have that urge, when this is something I've started doing. When I go into the bathroom, my first instinct used to be to grab my phone right before. But now, what you've got to do is catch yourself. Catch yourself in the middle of those behaviors, in the middle of those habits, which keep you down. So instead, I'll give you this example. Today, I was about to go into the bathroom, take a shit, and I was about to grab my phone. As I was reaching for my phone, I literally said to myself, Armand? And I said it out loud. I said, Armand, you don't need your phone. And I went to the bathroom and I took my shit and I wasn't in the bathroom for 15 fucking minutes. Because I'm telling you, every single time we bring our phones to the bathroom, we're there for like 15 minutes minimum. So once I said, you know what, I'm not going to bring my phone, I had a great shit. I thought about some things. I contemplated this. I was thinking about, what do I want to record for my podcast? Those kind of thoughts just came. And think about it like this. If you are constantly bringing your phone with you everywhere you go, man, you're bringing yourself down. Now, I'm not saying you should go outside to the fucking city without your phone. No, do that shit if you need to call someone or whatever. But I'm saying that you don't need it wherever you go. And more importantly, you can break bad habits before they happen. So if you, find yourself thinking about the past, getting real nostalgic and sad because the present isn't what you want it to be and you think the past is way better, you can stop yourself. Thank you, Boston. Thank you, Boston honking. You can stop yourself before that behavior actually manifests. So make sure you take the actions and necessary steps, and more importantly, break the habits that keep you down, because those habits, once you start to become aware of them, that's when you could truly attack them and take them down, and therefore become the best you. Fourth thing, and I think this might be the last one. I do think this is the last one, and that is self-reflection. I don't know about you guys, but I be talking to myself all the time. I'll be, by myself, just looking at myself in the mirror, maybe while I'm brushing my teeth, being like, Armand, you did really well on this today, or you could have done this better, or this, that. I like to talk to myself a lot, and I like to reflect a lot, because why wouldn't you talk to yourself? Why wouldn't you talk to the realest motherfucker you know, right? So, for me, my reflection takes place in my meditation and my journals. Now, if you do those two things, it's amazing. If you do one of those two things, it's also amazing. And if you don't do any of those two things, that could be good. If it works for you, it works for you. But if it's not working for you right now, just try it, contemplate it, pick it up, let me know, DM me, text me, whatever you need to know. If you need to know more about that, whatever you need to know. Yeah, right? But self-reflection is really key, because here you can actually see and break down, oh, I'm actually doing really well. The past week, my journal reflections have been very positive. I say I'm getting closer, I feel better, I feel good about life, and we're killing it. Or it might be the opposite. You'll be like, damn, bro, this week sucked. Let me see what I could do to change it. I think journaling just gives you a different depth of accountability that you don't get if you don't reflect. Because once you start to reflect, two things happen. One, you realize where your faults are and where the flaws are and where you can improve. And two, you realize that life's a lot better than you think. Life is a collection of small moments, and if you could find a way to make each of those small moments pretty fucking good, then that's your day. That's your life. Life is a collection of good small moments. So really all you need is a good small moment throughout the day, a few ones, and you'll have a good fucking life. That's just the truth of it. So yeah, keep reflecting, because if you're not reflecting, it's kind of like, it's like trying to drive a car without mirrors. You don't know how far you are from your destination, right? I need some caffeine. It's 5 p.m. on a Sunday, and I'm really starting to get tired. But I really appreciate you guys tuning in, and thank you all so much for listening. If you want to get back on track, there's a few things you gotta know. You gotta realize that you gotta fucking take responsibility. You've got to break habits and build new ones. You've got to put yourself in the environment which conduces growth and induces self-development. And number 4 is reflection. So, thank you guys so much for listening. I love you all dearly. Feel free to text me. Feel free to DM me. Feel free to email me. However, if you email me over the other two things, I'm going to be genuinely concerned for you. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching and listening. And as always, please share to all your friends and family and loved ones. And I'll see you on the next episode of Soulscape. Much love. Bye-bye.